Last week I attended The Sims 4 Creator Camp to check out The Sims 4 Get Together expansion pack. I also had the opportunity to sit down and talk to a few sim gurus. I'll be talking all about that and more on this special edition of The Simulation. Hi there, I'm Curtis Parody, and welcome to this special edition of The Simulation. Now, last week I was lucky enough to attend the Sims 4 Get Together Creators Camp held at EA's campus in Redwood Shores. There I was able to play the brand new game and talk to some creators about it. Now, before we jump into the interviews here, I do have to state that EA did pay for my trip down there, everyone, but I do personally want to thank them for all of the fun I had, checking out all of the amazing games and talking to the amazing people, and of course, hanging around with other YouTubers and bloggers just like myself. So to start off the interviews here, everyone, I had a chance to talk to sim guru Jill all about the brand new club system and what ideas were brought into the brand new world.
The main thing that we wanted to do here, I mean, of course, yes, we wanted to make it Europe. That's super fun. We've been screaming for it ourselves, but we also wanted to make a place where you have a lot more activity to do outside with your group, with your gathering. So we've made all sorts of fun places to hang out in the exterior. So we're taking you out of the house and bringing you outside into some really lush, gorgeous areas. My favorite venue inside of the world to take my clubs to hang out is the bluffs outside of the island. It's so super cool because it's super exclusive. You know, that's where people like go and hang out to be skeezy, to get away. And that's where you can go do some skinny dipping in your natural pool and do your backflips on your jump stand and have a little action in the bush. So yeah, I love the bluffs.
Now, how exactly do clubs change the way that we play inside of the game?
Clubs make such a big difference on how you play. Instead of individually picking and trying to synchronize your sims, they do everything as a unit. They go together as a pod. So I find it so convenient and so useful to play as a club because you can have them all go somewhere and they can behave in the same way. And it's really cute when you get their new outfits all synced. So yeah, I think it's gonna fully change how you play.
Now, how about, can you take over another club?
Right out the gate, I believe you have the option to overthrow the leader, or you can convince them to step down as well. So yeah, there's definitely ways for you to kind of manipulate your own club, even though somebody else might have set it up.
Here's an interesting question. What if your wife is in a different club than you?
If a club gathering is active, the club rules overrule everything. So yeah, if your wife is doing something that's not really allowed in your club, you guys are gonna be totally against each other. It's really funny.
What's your personal favorite club inside of the expansion pack?
So my personal favorite is the Knights of the Hedge. They're super fun. When they're in a gathering, they all spin into their armor uniform and they like clankety clank when they walk around. You can hear it in their footsteps. And they tend to want to wander the maze at the hedge maze down Haunt Estate. So it's really cool to watch them all derp together in their armor.
Can you tell us any more about the sea monster?
So our sea monster's name is actually Emily. I know that sounds like a weird random human name, but we named her after the concept artist Emily, who drew her. So yeah, it's a cute little nod to her. And she's so elusive. Complete honesty. Just a few weeks ago, I had a few folks from the team sit down and we just had it on speed 3 for a while because I was nervous that she was gone because we wanted to make her super elusive because at first she was showing up way too much. I was like, oh no, that's not like special. So we tuned her down to be really infrequent to the point where I was actually a little bit nervous that she disappeared. So she's back, she's there. Just like some of these elusive real sea monsters, we've made her this real special thing that you maybe only get a glimpse of in the distance, but you can't just generally find her and interact with her. She's a special unicorn.
After talking to Jill about the brand new sea monster, I thought it was necessary to talk to the designer behind the new creature, Emily, and see exactly how she feels about the sea monster being named after her.
Actually, that was Kim's idea to name it after me. I wanted to name it Nessie, but that's awesome.
It was her baby.
Yeah,
so that's why I was like, we should name it after Emily because it's her baby.
We drew a bunch of sketches and then we tried to go with something that was a little more fun. And yeah, I was happy to see the way it came out, and I'm glad that it's elusive. You don't see it that much.
What exactly goes into designing a brand new world for The Sims 4?
I think basically we just get the theme and then we have like 1,000 awesome ideas and we just like throw them up onto like the page and then yeah, and we're like, we should do this and we should do that and we should do that. And I actually the sea monster was my idea. We were drawing the Windenburg maps And I was like, wouldn't that be so fun if we just drew like a little sea monster in the corner? And then somehow it got in. I don't know how it got in, but.
Dancing happens to be one of the big new parts of The Sims 4 Get Together and one of my personal favorites. And lead technical designer Jeff Mitchell talked more about dancing and how it changed in the brand new pack.
So we had dancing in base game. They were very emotionally driven, but didn't really have any progression to them. So the one thing we thought about with the Get Together pack is obviously groups are a big deal, going out, very active lifestyle. So we did a lot of research. We're big fans of, teen movies. I'm going to admit I watch some K-pop. And so with kind of a mindset for very wild, big movements, kind of action-oriented things, we did a lot of research, a lot of dancing, spent some days watching YouTube, don't tell my boss, and then kind of made an amalgam of all of our favorite moves and put them together. We didn't have a lot of pi menu interactions to work with. It's a minor skill, unlike the big full 10-level skill. So we were kind of constrained by the amount of things we could put in, so we tried to pick the best kind of iconic moments and movements for that, really focusing on funny fails and big sequences. The ultimate one is the backflip, which was just a given. We knew we wanted to kind of lead up to that, where obviously the funny fail is if you don't stick that landing, you're gonna pay for it with the animations on the back end. And then kind of worked our way down, so there's an homage to some K-pop in there. We named it obviously differently, so you can find out moves if you're familiar with that genre. And other things were just kind of sampling various genres and trying to fit them into a club dancing scene. One of my favorites is actually called the Jimmy leg. That's actually named after our animator, Jimmy. So he's probably embarrassed that he's got his 15 minutes of fame in the game with a very wacky, kind of do a lot of moving around and a lot of swagger in there. So it's kind of a sampler platter of all the dances that we really enjoyed when we were doing our research, kind of fit into a very tight pi menu skill set. So interesting story. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to leak this. I'm going to let people tell me otherwise, but group dance actually came about from one of our early video trailer releases. We hadn't planned on doing a synchronized dance early on. We were kind of focused on the single sim experience and kind of progressing through the skill. And then our incredible Plum Bob Pictures video team put together this great video of, I think it was 3 Sims all in matching outfits doing this synchronized pose, and we saw it in a team meeting where absolutely we need to have this. So we actually shifted schedules around and figured out how we could take all the single sim content and make it synchronized, which has interesting challenges in and of itself. So generally it's all the same content that we pull from base game dancing, all the dance floor moves, and a couple of unique things that we kind of sprinkle in there. And the hardest thing was actually making it dynamic. So you can have 2 to 8 Sims all getting into unique formations depending on how many there are, and all performing the moves together. We have an incredible team of animators, and a lot of people are just very interested in dance, so they offer suggestions, and our animation team actually has this little corner where they have like this double mirror, and they just act through as many moves that are feasible. Obviously, we didn't want to do a backflip fail in the studio. We kind of figured that one out without reference, but generally there's a lot more animation reference and material that gets kind of tested out, proven out by the animation team than what you actually see in the game. And so we kind of cherry pick the best ones that we like. We actually smash some moves together, which is a lot of how our dance sequences developed. We like a little bit of this one, a little bit of this one, and we actually turn it into a much larger sequence. And then you can actually, as a player, chain those together on the dance floor. So you can show off your best moves, start with a backflip, go into the Jimmy leg, and do some arm charm to finish it and wow the crowd.
The Sims 4 Get Together will be released on December 8th, but a big update for the game is coming before that, and it's free to all users. The team at EA has been working behind the scenes to actually update the game to a 64-bit architecture. At the event, I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to Darren Giles, the lead technical director behind The Sims 4, all about how this will be rolled out to users and what it means when they're playing the game.
Well, that actually came from the Mac. Part started with the Mac, so we ended up choosing to make the Mac 64 bits. So this Mac has always been 64-bit. That came out in February of this year. So the reason why we did that is because Mac OS X is all the platforms we support in OS X are 64-bit, so we knew everybody would have a 64-bit OS. And so we basically decided to make the Mac 64-bit. So that was a lot of the heavy lifting happened there, because we had to essentially make the code work with 64-bit. So once we had done that, it was sort of a natural progression to do the PC. So we've been working on the PC version of it for probably about 3 months or so. And that was just kind of finishing off the stuff that was more PC specific that we needed to update. It's really just recompiling all the libraries, and then fixing the bugs. So we did find a number of bugs like that exposed, because sometimes the code isn't written correctly to deal with the different like 64 versus 32-bit. So we just would test it, he would fix things and stuff. So it was really mainly one guy, the testing department, and then working closely with Origin to kind of roll out just make it a smooth transition for people, because it's kind of a unusual thing to do after the game comes out to then put out 64-bit. So I don't think anybody within EA has done that before, so we had to do a bunch of work with them to make sure that's going to be a smooth transition for users.
Though you won't exactly notice it on the face of the game, 64-bit is sure to be a great addition to the game, and will surely help it in the future when more and more content is released. Once again, I have to send out a great thank you to all of the people at EA for putting together this amazing event. It was super fun to check out the new game, and I can't wait to get it for myself. But with every episode, I have a question for all of you. Now, talking about and going over all of this different information here, what are you most excited about for the Sims 4 Get Together expansion pack? You can let me know in the comment section down below, and if this is the first time you're ever watching the show, well, why not subscribe? I work to bring you guys the latest Sims 4 news and building videos all week. Just click the subscribe button and join the club. Until next Friday, everyone, I'm Curtis Parody. Have yourself a great weekend, and happy simming!